4 years.
Yeah.
And then all my money disappeared. And then I had to go back to doing part-time legal work because I hadn't given up on the idea of like, I'm going to break through at some point. I don't know if you remember, I'd done like the last internet viral thing I had. I did an impression of Louis C.K. back in 20.
Was that you all dressed as Louis?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah, it was funny.
Right. Yeah. So that was me. And like, I've had these up and down years, and I was like a guest on Corolla frequently. And then I had my stuff played on ESPN radio, but it was never enough to be like, okay, now I can get back into trying full time. And last year, I basically took a full-time job at a law firm, moved out of the city. I'm from New York City, but I now live in Jersey. Moved out of the city for the first time, at 40.
Yeah.
And was kind of like, I'll keep doing comedy, but I don't know if it can be my priority anymore.
So wait. So you were closing with the Trump in 2016, and then you did a bunch of it on YouTube, and then the third one you did recently got 7 million?
Yeah, it's at like 6.8 million on Twitter and like 2.5 million on YouTube.
And then what does that mean? Then who reaches out to you? What happens?
Well, there's been, a lot of people reach out with writing suggestions. They send me emails saying, why don't you try this in a skit?
Right. Sure.
But, some people, celebrities have reached out to me. Let me put it this way. The only people who haven't reached out to me are agents and managers. So once again, my career still seems like locked in place, but it's been a lot. Everybody but people who can maybe give me a career have reached out and told me how great I am. Like I did Howard Stern.
You did.
I think I'm doing it again next week. It's been like having 7 years of my career jammed into 1 month.
But but it's still, even that though, doing radio bits doesn't give you money.
Exactly. And it's also weird because it's like now everybody wants to hear the Trump. And I'm like, I have been doing stand-up comedy for over 16 years and I'm very good in my opinion. So it's like, I'm in this place now where I want to capitalize and make money and get my name out there, but also not have it become, you're that guy. And that's all. And then
Wow.
you say anything else and they're like, well, nobody wants to hear that.
That's tricky, man. So,
Right.
but so your act is not impression based?
No, it when I started out, it was, like 04, 05, 06. That's really what a lot of what I did. And then, you live a little and you want to talk about other things and your voice develops as a stand-up comic. So then like for 6 or 7 years, I would close with an Obama bit, but that was the only impression in my set. I had a lot of impressions on YouTube, but I kind of wanted to keep them separate. And then I've been closing with a Trump for the last 3 years, but like that's the only impression in the set.
What other impressions did you used to do?
Of course, the hacky ones early on, Arnold Schwarzenegger, De Niro. I had a good Owen Wilson.
Uh-huh.
I then started developing, I had the Louis C.K., George Lopez. Some friends really like my Greg Giraldo impression, which is a lawyer comedian, is especially meaningful. And now I have a Joel Osteen impression video.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a decent number of hits. And I don't know if you know who this is, John Bernthal, the guy who played the Punisher.
Yeah, I've interviewed him.
Oh, great. I have a really good one of him that I'm probably going to mix with Trump in the next week or two. So there's a whole range.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, the Trump has sort of dominated for monetary and cultural reasons. So
right.
It's become almost like a role. Instead of being one of many impressions I do, it's almost become like my main role over the last couple of years.
Well, I think it's an important role. The weird thing is that, my Brendan mentioned to me was that it's so close and so possible that, it's barely a farce,
Right. No, I end up trying to just go, because I have the way I think I've gotten it good also. The voice was good, but I do a weekly show as Trump, and that's sort of like loose improv every week as Trump. And that sort of has made me really good at just I'm more anticipating where he's going to be 6 months from now versus this could never happen. It's more like I did a thing on my show where he was making fun of Shinzo Abe, and doing a bad Asian stereotype accent.
Right.
2 friends of mine were like, dude, that was pushing it. And I go, well, that's what he would do.
Right.
And then 6 months later, it comes out that in private, he's been making fun of Asian leaders' accents. And I go, I can't be held accountable for being offensive if I'm merely predicting the behavior of this offensive person.
Right.
So it's more about keeping ahead of him than trying to outdo him.
Right. So what's the podcast you're doing, or just a YouTube show?
Oh no, it's Making Podcasts Great Again is the weekly podcast. So that's like it's very fun, and we've developed kind of a nice following for it.
Yeah.
And it's like people will hear things and contact me like 6 months later, like, can you believe what Trump said? Didn't you say that last year on the show?
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's fun and scary.
So what does it take to get into Trump? Do you just drop into it?
Yeah, at this point, it's the mindset is very easy, and then it's just you kind of lower the voice, and you kind and there's different Trumps. There's like I'm meeting with Marc right now, and it's like we're having like a good discussion. We're doing my 60 Minutes voice.
Yeah,
we're doing good things.
Yeah,
but if you're a reporter, especially like a black woman reporter, it's like, excuse me, you're nasty. Okay, you're right. You're a nasty woman. That's why you got fired. No, not you. And then the rally Trump is like the biggest, which is just what do we think about Joe Biden? Isn't Sleepy Joe? Isn't he like the word? Right there, my African American. You know what I'm talking about. He's like the sleepiest guy. He's so sleepy. He's like falling asleep. You see him? He's like not able to stay awake. That's what they say when you're sleepy. They say you can't stay awake. It's like, I know all the words to sleeping. It's like a beautiful thing. Yeah, so it's nice to see you laugh, but it's a whole range. And at this point, I credit sort of CNN. I think it was bad for democracy, but I credit them with never like going to commercial for 3 years while he's on TV, because it was just this almost by osmosis at that point that the impression just kept getting better and more nuanced.
And now, because, he's actually improvising much more now.
Great jazz artist.
Yeah, something. I mean, with these 2-hour-long briefings, I have not watched one in its entirety, and I know that they usually cut away from them, but they've got to be have you listened to any of the 2-hour briefings in their entirety?
I have, and I feel a little guilty about it because part of me says, hey, it's kind of like research. I want to know if there's something he said.
Yeah.
Something kooky. But at the same time, I don't even care what he says because I just have to one up it anyway.
Right.
And they're really bad. They're like, I've turned some of them off because I'm just like, these are ego strokes for him. He can't do his rallies, so he gets to go out there and yell at, women and liberals.
But you do see how his brain works.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's because what I've said to people, whenever somebody says to me like, Trump is very smart. He's a very smart guy, or he has good instincts.
Yeah.
I go, my dog has good instincts too. If there's a steak on the table, she'll probably figure out how to nudge a chair over to the table, jump on the chair and get the steak.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean she can go to college and read books. It's just she is very focused on using her particular skills. And his instinct is a combination of ego stroke and self-preservation. So all you have to do, I've said, the impression, because I do a lot of meandering as him, and that's something that people really like, the going off topic and finding your way back. It's a choose your own adventure book when you're doing a Trump impression, but the choice is always what makes Trump feel happy. So if he says a word, if he goes, we're having it's called teleconference. Okay. A lot of people are doing this. Don't you like that word? Teleconference. Like he's impressed with the fact that he said the word. So now let's go off on a little side adventure on how great that word is because I said it.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and go, but it's a great thing. And we're doing great work for the people. You next.
Yeah. That thing, the Nabisco riff that's the one that killed me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the ventilator, the Nabisco. Nabisco, they're making our ventilators now. So we're going to have very strong Nabisco. They're one of our great companies, a great American.
Is that the one that got all the hits?
No. That did well too. But the big one was actually the one I thought was like not as good.
Yeah.
Like, you never know what's going to hit. It was about him wanting to reopen the country on Easter. And that was way too soon. So the joke that it became, the tangent was, oh, Easter, like God only brought back his son on Easter Sunday. And that, to be honest, is kind of biased because he's only bringing back his own son. Who wouldn't want to bring back their own son?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring back the whole economy. We're going to have a pay-per-view event where it's God versus Trump and who brings back more people on Easter Sunday. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
So now, what kind of law practice are you involved with? Do they know that you do the Trump
They do. I'm a staff attorney. I'd rather not say where, but it's basically you're paid pretty well to do sort of the stuff that the legal profession requires lawyers to do, but not much beyond that. Like I often say, I sometimes say you're like the fluffers of a law firm. You like get stuff ready at the lowest level, but you're not one of the stars, and you're not doing the real meat and potatoes work. And they know. I was upfront because I didn't want to have a thing where it's like they discover 6 months later and go, "Oh, you need to leave." So I figured rather tell them up front. And then when the Trump video blew up, we were all working remotely, and like I had a secretary email me. I had a coworker email me. They're like, "My aunt just sent me your video." And I'm like, "Oh, that's how I knew it's gotten big." When people who didn't even know me are getting me from their distant relatives.
Well, as a lawyer, it's kind of interesting. The methodology of this particular president is that if you sue somebody, that means it'll get, you've got time to kind of outpace it. That,
Exactly. Yeah. Trump uses lawsuits, not even in pursuit of money or certainly not in pursuit of justice, but as like a delay tactic.
Yeah.
Until he can like get flown to a non-extradition country.
Yeah. Well, I have no idea what's going to happen after, but like, that's the other odd thing is it seems like, sadly, given that your career is starting to take a turn and you got this record out and you've got the podcast that, you have something invested in Trump. It's sort of like, Von Meter, after JFK was killed, it was kind of over and a sad story for that guy. but it seems that even if he doesn't win, God willing, you'll still be able to find a way to parody him.
Yeah. And I think, I joked with somebody before about Von Meter. I said, I think I had all my Von Meter tragedy and sad sack career.
Yeah, before
this, instead of, at least that's the right direction to do it in.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been doing stand up almost 17 years. So I know at least my chops are there.
Yeah.
If I get the opportunity to showcase more, I know that I will thrive. And with Trump, I'm still conflicted if I'm going to continue doing it. And people think I'm full of shit, but I am conflicted about continuing it if he wins. I'm much more comfortable continuing it, even to a smaller audience if he loses. To mock him, I can do like here's what Trump's political commentary is on Biden now that he's out of office.
Right.
But if he gets reelected, it really does, no hyperbole, it says something fundamental about this country's essence, how it picks its leaders. And it's not, I don't think it's funny anymore. I think a mistake can be corrected, but doubling down on it says, structurally and spiritually, this country has hit a tipping point. I
think sadly, I feel the same way, and I'm not even doing an impression. Yeah. The bigger concerns are like, how do we live here if that is the world we're going to be living in? Yeah.
And the benefits when you've had a career that's been 15, 16 years of up and down and disappointments and little successes, I'm at least emotionally very well equipped to have my career fall off another cliff and be like, oh, nobody wants to book me anymore. Oh, so it's just like 2015 and 2017, I guess.
But you're also, you're employed, which is good.
Yeah, no. And of course, but that's something also that fell into my lap less than a year ago. Yeah. Like I was doing part-time work for like 6.5 years. So I didn't always have this,
right.
But I developed coping mechanisms or strategies to be like, all right, you get used to the disappointment.
And you have kids?
No kids.
Married?
Longtime girlfriend. Yeah. And a dog.
And you're out there and you got a place in Jersey.
Yes. So it's okay. It's not the way. I certainly didn't think taking 3 steps back from my comedy career was exactly what was needed for me to become a success.
Hey, but you and me both, buddy. I mean, But it's really funny, and you do a great job. Thanks for talking to us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Nothing lasts forever, right? So how come for some itchy allergy eye sufferers, it seems like allergy season never ends? If you've had it with rubbing your itchy allergy eyes all the time, you need Pataday Once Daily Relief. Pataday contains the #1 prescribed eye allergy itch relief ingredient, and now it's available without a prescription. With Pataday, just 1 drop once a day works fast and lasts all day. Relief season is here to stay. Get Pataday online in stores everywhere. Also, there's plenty about the world that feels different right now, but that doesn't mean you have to put your creativity on the back burner. It's a good time to take that idea you've always had and turn it into a reality with Squarespace. Whether you're looking to start a new business, showcase your work, publish content, sell products, and more, Squarespace